Hey guys, thanks for watching. In this video, we're going to look at Microsoft Defender for Endpoint and some of the cool features we can use and integrating it with things like Sentinel. So, a lot of times we get questions asked about what about the auto investigation features within MDE and things like that. And so today in this video, we'll take a look at some of those things and see how it looks. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. So I have the Windows onboarding package. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to onboard the Defender for Endpoint. So this machine, let's take a look at the host name and take a look at it and see what the name of the machine is. Give me a second here. And so then we'll turn off, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some Red Canary MITRE attack techniques to see how well this machine is working. Right? So the hosting of this machine is VM777. So I'm going to pull over my Windows admin center here so you guys can take a look at this. So in here, let's go to devices and VM777. It's not showed up yet, obviously, because I just did that. So let's give this a couple of minutes and then we'll refresh and come back to it. Usually it takes about between 3 to 5 minutes in my experience in my lab, but there it is here. All right, so VM777 showed up. It's still downloading. It's still doing its thing. So we'll give that a few seconds and then we'll attack this machine. All right, so what I want to do is demonstrate how well the system reacts to MITRE attack technique attacks against it. Right. So to do that, because I want to invoke the EDR functionality, and to do that, I need to turn off the virus and threat protection and real-time protection here. Right. So let's turn that off. So again, the goal here is to see how well the EDR functionality does in an environment that is, being attacked, and you have, for some reason, your antivirus turned off. Now, that's not realistic. Most people will have antivirus turned on, but really the goal here is to test the EDR functionality. And then on top of that, really what we want to do after testing EDR functionality is marry that with, or integrate that with, Sentinel. So Sentinel is a big part of the Microsoft security platform story because it helps with the automation of a lot of tools, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, what we want to see is how we can then automate this story. So if I get an attack, let's go back a few days, let's go back like 14 days, and then let's change this here. Let's change the, close this out. Let's change the products from all products to just Defender for Endpoint here. Hit OK. And so what I want to do is show you how it pulls all this data in together. And then once it pulls it all in, we can actually then react to this attack, right? So what we want to do is look at the machine that's coming in and then run a playbook to isolate the machine, okay? So that's the goal for today. So we want to basically invoke some sort of testing here and then see how the machine does with how Sentinel can, respond to this attack. Again, another part of this, really, this attack here, this what we're doing here is to, look at. Show you something real quick that I had here. Maybe it's not in there anymore, but it's a multi-stage attack, and do that one word. Anyway, the goal, what I wanted to show you guys was how what Sentinel really does well is tie everything together. So when we, if there were more alerts in here and we hit the investigate button, it would tie in all the different entities, right? So entities are usernames, users, devices, etc., and even sometimes some files, etc. But what I wanted to show you guys was how it ties it all in together. And so, you have multiple alerts and multiple VMs all in one attack. So it really is a very cool thing to see, and we'll try and get you to see that as the video progresses. Okay. So now let's do the attack, right? So the attack here, let me just actually show you where I'm getting the attack information from, so you can actually pull that up yourself. Let me just start with your data. Okay, so if I just go to, oh, sorry, close that out. To go to GitHub Red Canary, right? An Atomic Red Team. Here, all the attacks I'm running are available here. They also have a lot of good README documents that I copied and I use, right? So it's not something that I wrote myself or is difficult. You can just actually go to this web page and then just pull that data and make it available so you can actually use it, all right? So now I'm going to actually pull up, run some attacks. So I have to install some modules first. And again, all that information is on the GitHub page. So I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to run these commands, PowerShell commands, one by one. Okay. So first one here is I'm going to install this Red Team attack software. Yes, go ahead and install. Yes to all. It'll install these folders, and it'll install everything. Again, it's all here in this GitHub Red Canary Atomic Red Team, right? So you hear the atomics. It's going to install all this for me, and it'll actually this is all the techniques that will be installed on my machine by running those scripts. Okay, and those scripts again are available on the README page. Okay, here I'm actually going to say get the atomic. So all those techniques you saw, I'm going to actually pull those in by running this command here, get atomics. Okay. Takes a couple of minutes for it to run. Just wait. And again, let's go back here while that's running just to show you guys what we're looking at here, right? So eventually, after we run these attacks on this system, the goal is to see if the system invokes a automated investigation. So investigations can be partially remediated or fully remediated. And you can use device groups to delineate which machines are fully remediated, which machines are not. But the goal here is to see how well the MDE software kicks off the EDR investigation functionality if some sort of anomaly, or let's imagine a website opens up but also spawns a C2C connection with a IP address, or you open up a Word document and that opens up another child process Excel document or something else in the background. These are all anomalies that the EDR engine, if you will, is looking for, right? So it's looking for those things, and then it'll actually run the investigation for you. It'll collect evidence. It'll look for all the devices that had similar attacks, things like that. Okay, so let's go back to our machine here. Now that it's installed, we can take a look at it. So if you go to the drive for this machine, go to the C drive, you'll see Atomic Red Team, and in there will be the atomics, all right? So now to actually run a test, you'll go invoke atomic test T1218. That's one of the techniques I'm going to be using. Space dash check prereq. So check prereqs is basically to see, do I have the required files or deliverables to run the attack. If I don't, I can go here and I can run this get prereqs. All right, so I'll go ahead and get the prereqs. Now what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and download all the prereqs required for me to run the technique T1218. And since I didn't put a sub technique in there, what I'm asking it to do is run all the techniques. I'm saying like, yep, go ahead and run every single one. So once it downloads all of them, I come in here and I write show details. All right, so I hit show details, and now basically it's going to run the actual attack on this machine. So it's running these attacks, and I'll show you how you can look at these. All right, so the way Microsoft has done it is everything is aligned with the MITRE ATT&CK framework. So if I go to devices, and I pick any device, right? So I'll just pick VM77. No, it's not done any attacks yet, so that's not a good one. But actually, yeah, we have some alerts in here. But if I go to timeline, and let's look and see if there are any alerts there. But what I want to see is this, under additional information, this sub attack going on here, right? So I click here, and it'll show me the attack, the MITRE attacks, the MITRE ATT&CK technique that is being used here. So if I click on this link here, it'll actually take me to the MITRE ATT&CK webpage, where I can look at all the attacks that are really happening, all the techniques that are being used against my machine. I can study them. And there's recommendations there as well, how you can fix it, right? So here we'll also basically give you the techniques info, and then we'll also give you recommendations to tell you, okay, like how you can hunt for more of this information, what this attack is doing, what it's using, what's the goal here, and then how you can actually stop it, all right? So if I go here to incidents and alerts, and the alerts the VM we're looking for is VM77. As you're seeing here, the EDR detection source is looking for this. And then if we go to at the Action Center, let's see if any investigations have been started for VM77. Not yet, so there's no ongoing investigations. Usually it takes a couple of minutes for those to actually kick off, okay? So let's give that a couple of minutes and see if we see anything for VM77. Yeah, we see 3 incidents here, multi-stage incidents here. So let's go look at that. And we're seeing all the different tools, lateral movement, execution, all these different attacks that are taking place. You can click on this incident here, and then we'll say an investigation has started now. And we can actually go to investigations and look at the attack, and it'll tell us what it's doing, right? And you'll see the investigation has been running for 2 minutes now. The VM it's running the investigation on is VM77. It's a lateral movement. We found 5 entities so far, okay? Now I can cancel the investigation as an administrator. If I had a partial remediation configured for this device, it would run, and then after a while it would tell me pending, and there'd be a option here. Besides log, it would be take action or pending actions. And then I could actually go in there and delete the machine. So now let's look at how we tie that into Sentinel, right? So come into here to Sentinel. And what we want to see is anything for VM77, all right? So let's go ahead and refresh this. And we'll see if there's any new ones. So 2 new ones. And so let's just see if you see VM77. Not yet, nothing there yet. Let's just see. And so no, the oldest one we have, or the newest one we have is from March 1st. So what we're looking for today is March 9th. So let's give this a couple of minutes. It usually takes a couple of minutes for these incidents to start showing up here. So the alerts are already in the Defender endpoint, Defender portal, and we've configured integration with Sentinel. The way you configure integration with Sentinel, I can actually cover that while we wait, is there are 2 ways, right? So one is you actually can do just for Sentinel, go to data connectors, just for Defender for endpoint, right? So you come in here and you can type in Defender, and you'll see all the different defenders. Now, there's Defender for endpoint, Defender for identity, IoT, etc. But if you come to this one here, all the different defenders are included in this one. You hit the open connector page, and I've already configured mine, obviously, and it's all configured for all of them. So what you're going to see is it's already connected, and it's basically pulling in everything I have in my different portals, okay? So I'll go back here to connectors. Let's go back to incidents and see if we've seen anything new here. Let's close this out. And nothing yet. So it's only 114 incidents. So let's just do last 24 hours. That'll be blank. We'll do auto refresh on incidents and give this a couple of minutes. It has 24 incidents in here, and that's because there's another tool that kicked off. So if I click on this and hit OK, you'll see the other incidents that kicked off. So this one's coming in from my Azure firewall. And so other way we can look at that. So it's basically just going to look at all the different IP addresses that are attacking my firewall. So again, on the cloud, as soon as you make an IP address available, you'll get to see how many people have scanning, tools available, etc. And if I click on entities here, it'll show me all the different IP addresses that are attacking my one device here, right? So let's go back. Let's see, there's 25, so we got one more incident. Or is that just another that one there? Let's refresh this. Usually it doesn't take so long, but sometimes it does take longer than you'd like. Maybe I should pause the video and come back. We'll give it another minute. Apologize. There it is on the 9th. No, that's only for the server. Let's go back to investigation and see if any of the investigation's still running. Let's see if any other investigations have been started. So let's go to history. And so it's not registered here yet, so let's just wait. So those investigations are still running and they're not registered there. See any alerts? Yeah, you can see a bunch of alerts for VM77, as you can see here. So a lot of different suspicious activities here. So let's give it another minute. I'm just going to go ahead and pause the video. We'll come back to this in a second, okay? All right, appreciate the patience, guys. So it took a while. It took like another 2 minutes. So it would have been like boring for you guys to sit there. But what you're seeing here is now the alerts are flowing into Sentinel. Sentinel is basically pulling in these, and they basically we can look at all the different attacks. So if we click on view full details, you're seeing like all the information. We can hit investigate. We can look at all the different entities that are attacking this one machine, right? But what I was trying to show you in the beginning of this video, right? So this thing called multi-stage, right? So it's multi-stage. And I was doing it without the hyphen. That's why we couldn't see it earlier. But what I want to show you guys here is like, there's this multi-stage incident here. And again, what Sentinel does really well. So of course, the question you're probably asking is, if everything's happening here, why do I need Sentinel? What Sentinel is really good at is tying pieces of or alerts from various sources into one incident. So imagine you have the same IP address attacking your on-premises environment, the same IP address attacking your SaaS environment, the same IP address attacking your end users or your email environment. What Sentinel does really well is, instead of you investigating those attacks at your email environment, your firewall on-prem, and your SaaS environment all separately, Sentinel ties those together to tell you a better story and give you the value of what is happening, right? So you can actually click on investigate here. And what's nice is it'll actually pull in all the alerts related to this incident, right? So you'll get this really intricate web thing, right? So this is really hard to read, but what you can do is you can come into entities here, okay, and then just type something like VM. So when you type in VM, what you'll see is all the virtual machines associated with this attack. Now, if this is not a stage environment, which it is in my in my lab, but if you had, let's say, a real IP address attacking you, or a file that was maybe made its way across your environment, your digital estate, whether on-prem and remote workers, and maybe in some cloud assets as well, Sentinel would pull that information together. So now you can react to this, right? So let's go back to incidents. Let's clear out this search. So what you're going to see here, and you probably didn't hear that, but now as the investigations are getting completed, the enterprise, the EDR functionality of MDE will start pulling unwanted files off this machine. So we'll see a lot more of these notifications come up, right? So another one here. So it'll keep doing that. So it'll keep pulling unwanted applications. So all these atomic tests, it's associating all these atomic tests with the attack, and it'll start pulling them off, right? So you'll see here. So now it's gone from just one, there should be three in there. So it'll basically pulled one off, pull one off, pull one off. So it'll just keep doing that, and it'll just keep trying to clean up your machine. So that's what they call the self healing part of MDE. Okay, so here let's look at this attack, and let's look at the one from today. And so it's VM777. So now let's just imagine I'm in this environment, I'm looking at it, I want to react. Again, the thing is, if you run this playbook, right, and you hit, I choose different playbooks I can run. So I can choose isolate MDE machine, okay? The goal here is to show you automation at its best, because if it's one machine, yes, you can do that from the portal. But what if it's 20 machines, 30 machines, 100 machines? Are you really going to go in the devices tab and go to each and every single machine and hit isolate, isolate, isolate? Here you can do it from here directly. And then in a couple of minutes, this machine will just be locked down. That means it'll have no internet access, only to the applications that are allowed, right? So it just takes a couple of minutes, and then boom, we see here that the machine is no longer accessible. It's been locked down. And if I go into here, devices, I go to Action Center, and I look at history. In here, I should see the isolate device. So again, I hope you guys found this video helpful. It's all about how much can you automate. And the thing with automation is you got to think about nights, weekends, holidays, things like that. That's when automation really starts to augment and help you out. Hope you guys found this video useful, and thank